And eighth suffering is suffering for illness of 5 skandhas. 5 skandhas now, since we chant Heart Sutra all the time. Form, body. If you illness of your body, it's related to physical. And feelings. Illness of feelings or perception. If you have wrong perceptions, or impulse, or too much impulse, or consciousness. So this is the kind of suffering Buddha talked about. So we have a mental and emotional suffering comes from separation from when you are loved ones, or associated with the unpleasant, or unable to get what you want. So in our life, nothing is permanent. Whatever you have, whatever you wanted, all passing away. Things we love once no longer with us. Things we don't like stay with us. What's wrong with our lives? When we face struggle and seek to understand, we take time to look deeply about our own mind and explore possibility to find peace within this struggle. And the fourth and the final suffering in Buddhism is 108 delusion. If you have a lot of delusion in your mind, in your head, certainly it is part of suffering. In Buddhist practice, we practice 108 bows, full bows on the floor to purify these 108 delusions. So what is it? What is the 108 delusions? The Heart Sutra describes in detail. If you practice Heart Sutra and the chanting with enough experience, you can describe what is the 108 delusions. So 108 delusions are related with our minds and bodies. It's called 6 roots, 5 senses and the mind. So ears, eyes, 5 senses and the mind, encountering with the outer world, you have 3 different kinds of feelings. One is pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. So 3 times 6 is 18th, right? And when we use our eyes to see the world, our perception identify or make judgment that it is beautiful, it's ugly. The problem with beautiful, when you have a beautiful object, the wanting mind arises. I want to have it. I want to have these beautiful flowers in my desk. If you see ugly things, the not wanting mind arises. I want to get rid of this from my life. But you cannot. So 18 times 2 is 36, right? So 36 kinds of thinking and delusion arise in our mind. It happened in the past, all the memories, right? Memories, what had happened in the past, and present. When we encounter, even today and now, you are busy making that, it's beautiful, it's meaningful, or not. You're constantly thinking, right? Thinking mind is there. And future, it will happen in the future. So 36 times 3, past, present, future, equals 108 delusions. So knowing all of this, Sote-san added one more here. The final suffering is related to materialism or material values or material service. Today, we have so advanced material goods and services, and watching interesting TV give you no time to meditate, right? if you want to go all exotic places, you don't have time to meditate. So material goods and services, making us busy and occupied with the material things, leave you no time to cultivate your inner life, your meditation, your spiritual self. Maybe the last one could be the biggest hindrance or biggest cause of suffering today, because it triggers greed, it triggers craving, it triggers more ignorance of connecting with a larger heart. So what do we do with all this suffering we know now? Why are we coming here to the temple every Sunday? Because we want to tackle this problem of suffering in our lives. The insight into suffering is the very essence of the teachings of Buddhism and Won Buddhism. Because of this suffering, we have a motivation now. I don't want to continue the way I live. You begin to rethink and use your creativity how to change it. Because we have a capacity within ourselves. As a Buddha did, we can liberate ourselves from suffering and liberate ourselves from ourselves. To live means, in Buddhism, not to suffer. Of course, the suffering is a part of it. But to live means to liberate yourself. As I mentioned last Sunday, what is the purpose of our life on earth? The purpose of our life is not merely existing the way it was, but awaken us to see the truth, to see things as they are, so we can have a wisdom to let go of the cause of suffering and have wisdom, have insight to liberate ourselves, to bring nirvana. If we are striving for something, if that is permanent, that will be nice. But if it's impermanent, then inevitably bring unhappiness when you lose them. As the Buddha emphasized in his first sermon of Four Noble Truths, there is a suffering in human life, which means in everyone's life, including you and including me. So suffering is inevitable. Dissatisfaction is an aspect which is not separable from our human existence. So human beings have a tendency to get what they want and hold on, what they like, and try to get rid of what they dislike. So how we do this? How can we reduce and eliminate suffering from our life, in our body and in our mind? So cause of suffering is a craving. If you do not crave anymore, there is no suffering. The craving is a wish for satisfaction, gratification, holding security, or solidarity, a wish to return of innocent perfection. So as long as there is a craving, there is a suffering. So seeing your own craving makes you develop awareness of your own mind. So seeing is key. Awareness is central in Buddhist teaching. Are you aware of it? Your higher self. Are you aware of your Buddha nature? Are you aware of your breathing at this moment? Awareness is not thinking. Awareness is kind of a presence. So by bringing your craving into awareness itself can bring liberation. So seeing is wisdom, seeing is eyes, and awareness is wisdom. So wisdom can break core force of greed and hatred. So what is the root cause of greed and hatred? It's ignorance. The root cause of the problem is ignorance. Ignorance about your truth. Not ignorance coming from not going to school. This ignorance is nothing to do with how many books you ever read or what kind of degree you have. This ignorance is related with the Four Noble Truths and all Buddhist teaching. So by seeing that craving for what it is wisdom. So the vision of Buddha is the fearful and disturbed aspect of mind, just recognizing that problem of our normal human mind, gave him that courage and motivation to leave palace, to know the truth. Even this problem of craving, which causing our suffering, that is not intrinsic though. That is a very simple way of dysfunction of a human mind, which is not yet cultivated through insightful meditation. It is not the nature of mind. It is a hindered mind, or we call it your own karma, especially negative karma. So Buddha realized that nirvana was actually a discovery of what had been present all the time, nothing new. Similarly, it's available to you all. As a Gautama Buddha, as a Sotaesan discovered this truth and be able to see things as they are, you can liberate yourself and experience nirvana here and now. If you are not hampered by your confused false self, it is possible you can experience nirvana here and now. So Buddha didn't do anything but just recognize this false view of self. So if we can let go this false view of self and be able to see who you are, be able to see who you are, then you can experience nirvana right here. And your whole life, every day from now on, be experience nirvana, an expression of the nirvana.